So, today I'm going to talk about the way we can use to improve our English. As a non native speaker, you need to keep in mind a number of things to improve your English. First of all, you need to think of yourself presenting something that is meaningful to the person you're talking to. It's not, the point is not always to say something, but it's the correct way of saying it. And is it appropriate to the situation you are in, or you need to think of something else? So it has nothing to do with fluency or accuracy than to be connected to the appropriateness, cultural appropriateness, which means you need to think of the pragmatic meaning, not the semantic meaning. So, what I mean is not the literal meaning. You don't have to translate everything in your mind, but you need to let your ideas come out of your mind just fluently based on the situation you find yourself in. In this way, you will be able to communicate and you will be able to give a chance to the one you're talking to get in whatever you're saying. It's not a way of memorizing a chunk of information, and by this, you will come out and come across to the people you are talking to as fluent and a semi-native, native-like accent. It doesn't work like this. Think of your second language as three stages process. When you start learning a first language, you don't have any linguistic awareness. That's why you need to work on it. But when it comes to your second language or third language, now you have a stock of knowledge about languages. You know that we need a subject. You're asking yourself, where does the adjective go? Does it go before the noun it describes? Like for example, in French, or does it comes after? Like, for example, in Arabic, or in Spanish, for example, when I start learning Spanish, muy elegante. So muy elegante, or so, for example, when we say something like abrigo azul. So something like this, we will find out by the wordlet information, the linguistic awareness of the languages that I can speak, like Arabic, English, and French. I can use all of this to help me out to improve my Spanish faster than the way I started learning English and French, for example. Because in this way, you are depending on the kind of stock of information you already have about how language work. And in this way, it will be easier for you to, again, try to fill in all the gaps you already have about the target language you're trying to understand and to practice. So let's get back to the three-way stages. So the three-way stages, stage one, this is your first, second, third language. Stage two, you need to move on from the position you are in right now to a position wherein you can practice a new language. Let's say I can speak English. As a starter, this is my first stage. Then I need to go from this place, this stage, into the second stage wherein I can speak English. In this way, I am moving to stage two, which is the interlanguage, which means you're not speaking, let's say, English, and you're not speaking Spanish, but you, in this way, you are going from the language you're speaking, let's say English in our case, and you're moving out from this language to the second language, which is Spanish. So, going from stage one to the native like accent does not go automatically. So, what you need to do is to work on this to make it come naturally. That's why think of the interlanguage as an in between stage that you have to go through to have a native like accent. So in this stage, which is stage two, it is completely natural to make mistakes. It is completely natural to sound quite inaccurate and not fluent in the target language. Because again, think of it as your box of information. And in order to work on your accent, you need to have good stock of information and linguistic knowledge about this target language. But again, I've noticed a lot of people would start out with memorizing chunks of information. That's great. But again, everything falls apart the moment you start to talk to a native speaker. That's why what I recommend to work naturally. You go from the new knowledge zone to the native knowledge zone. So you keep working on this. Just think of it as a curve that you need to go up, keep going up. So you start from the 0 point and you start going up to build up your knowledge. It's not bottom, it's not top down, or it's not going the other way around. Because again, I have noticed that a lot of people would work on chunks based information, which is basically the audiolingual approach, wherein people will memorize number of things, and then all of a sudden they will show off saying all of these things in front of people to impress them and to let them know they can speak this language fluently. But the moment you ask them to do a task, again, he or she will come across like doesn't have enough information about this target language. That's why what you need to work on is your developmental progress, meaning that you have a progress in this language, and this progress goes developmentally in a development continually. So in this case, think of the child. If you have a kid, or like if you're a single mom, single dad, or parent, or even if you have a little brother or something, think of the way they start learning a language. And in this way, they start learning a language by listening a lot, and then they practice, wherein we have tons of mistakes, which sound funny to many of us. That's why we make jokes. We kind of feel very happy to have a kid speaking a language for the first time around us, because it's funny, right? The grammar mistakes, the way they structure sentences, the way they ask question, and the way you sometimes you need to correct them, or the way you listen to them and you get the point without correcting them. So this is exactly how people acquire languages. I'm not here talking about the way we teach or learn a language, but I'm talking about the acquisition of the language. So think of this again. Stage one, it's zero knowledge in this target language, and then you move on to the interlanguage stage, wherein it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to have all kind of developmental errors, wherein you again have this process of self-correcting yourself, self-identifying all the problems you've been through or you're struggling with so far. It's a way of self-correcting yourself, self-reflecting your progress so far in this language. So it's not a problem at all. If you think about it, it's not a problem. It's something that you need to work on. It is a natural cycle that you need to go through. If you try to, again, jump to stage three, you will miss a lot of things. First of all, you will have a lot of problems, and all of your information in this target language, you will be able to conduct, again, a conversation with someone, but not in a natural way, because basically all the knowledge you really have about this target language is based on memorized chunks of language. So I know how to say, how you doing? Or something like this. or I know how to say, what's up, what's shaking, something like this. But again, the moment a one is trying to conduct a dialogue with you, everything falls apart. I remember a friend of mine, when I came to States, he started speaking like using these chunks of information. And all of a sudden, he whispered to me, asking me something like, what does this guy say? What does he mean? I said, come on, you're speaking like native speaker. Your accent is far much better than me. So why are you not getting this? I'm not just quite furious because again, I thought for a moment he's much better than me. The way he speaks English, the way he interacts with people, it's quite fascinating. That's even I was impressed by it, and that's why I was astonished. Okay, what's going on here? And later on, when I had this second language acquisition SLA course, I quite realized that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to practice your language with so many problems and errors. It's not okay to practice language based on memorization. That's all I have to share with you. Feel free to write down your comments if you have anything or any question, and I will be happy to get back to you on that.